Everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do.
This was the kind of pushback Caitlin Clark's fans had been waiting to see from her teammates. And in Sophie Cunningham, they got even more than they hoped for. Sophie wasn't just Caitlin's protector. She became the loudest voice for fans. And the biggest problem for Kathy Engelbert. As the 2025 season went on, Sophie's patience with the league's unfair calls and bias dropped to zero. Every hard foul on Caitlin, every cheap shot the referees ignored, every fine the league hit her with, none of it made her quiet down. Instead, she pushed back harder at the refs, the media, her old teammates, and even the league itself, leaving no one off limits. And here's the part that should worry the WNBA the most. This is just the beginning. This video breaks down Sophie's journey from being Caitlin's enforcer to becoming the league's worst nightmare, with each moment showing her getting bolder and more fearless. But first, make sure to like this video and share your favorite Sophie moment in the comments.
Just the competitor that I am. I'm fierce, I'm sassy. I stick up for my teammates, stick up for myself. And so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be yourself.
What Sophie said turned out to be an understatement, because when she joined the Fever, fans were excited since this team badly needed exactly what she promised: toughness. They wanted someone who could stand up against the constant cheap shots aimed at Caitlin Clark. But Sophie brought more than just energy and fight. She brought something fans noticed immediately: her genuine loyalty to Caitlin.
You know, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way.
In the WNBA, that kind of loyalty was rare. After a season where the media tried to downplay Caitlin's impact, the referees refused to give her fair calls, and even Nike delayed giving her proper promotion. It felt refreshing to finally hear a player speak the truth. Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA, and she is changing the league. That honesty instantly made Sophie public enemy #1, and it didn't take long before other players started testing her. During the preseason, against the Mystics, rookie Kiki Fenn knocked her down, and Sophie immediately got back up and made it clear, don't ever try that again.
Look, you go down into the trees and things happen, and Kiki or Fenn right there, they had an extra little shove, and she's just like, what'd I do? Well, you kind of grow up, and then Sophie Cunningham pops right up and has a lot to say.
That preseason moment was just a preview, a small taste of what the rest of the season was going to bring. Because if a rookie could knock down a veteran like Sophie without any fear, what chance did Caitlin Clark really have? It was open season, on the Fever, and Sophie's role was about to become perfectly clear. Game after game, the referees kept their whistles buried, letting Caitlin take hard hits with no calls while other players got away with everything. It felt like 2024 all over again, and Sophie finally reached her limit. On June 17th in the Commissioners' Cup against the Connecticut Sun, the officials let the game completely spiral out of control. First, JC Sheldon raked at Caitlin's eyes, then Marina Mabrey dropped her with a body shot. Yet still there were no ejections, no protection, no accountability. That's when Sophie Cunningham snapped, and what she did next instantly became legendary among Caitlin Clark's fans, a moment that felt like pure relief and satisfaction for everyone who had been waiting for justice.
Mabrey. That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard foul. You could say it's a play on the ball, but...
Finally, there was some retribution. After months of watching Caitlin take hits with no protection, Sophie delivered the payback with a headlock, a shove, and a simple challenge: do something. Until now, Sophie had always been fiery, but this was different. This was the moment the switch flipped. From then on, she played with zero fear and zero care for the consequences, and it didn't stop on the court. At practice after the game, when reporters asked her about the altercation, Sophie made it clear that this wasn't about one foul or one matchup. It was about something much bigger.
During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Sophie had watched the unfair treatment of Caitlin Clark from a distance, but now she was experiencing it firsthand. And she had finally had enough. That moment sealed Sophie Cunningham's place as a household name.
They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom! Wow, I love it.
She was the one who finally stood up for Caitlin Clark. And what happened next was the perfect example of the Caitlin Clark effect. Fans embraced Sophie instantly. Her jersey sold out within minutes, and her social media exploded with millions of new followers. Sophie leaned right into it, posting a TikTok with a Selena Gomez track as a playful nod to the JC Sheldon takedown, and it went mega viral. Her comments were flooded with the same message: "Thank you for standing up for Caitlin." It turned into a multi-million-dollar moment as Sophie went overnight from a role player to one of the most marketable names in the league. But with every new fan came just as many enemies. The media criticized her for retaliating against JC Sheldon while ignoring Mabry's cheap shot and Sheldon's swipe at Caitlin. A Change.org petition even appeared demanding she be kicked out of the league for unsportsmanlike conduct. And then came the WNBA fine of $400. At that point, Sophie was at a crossroads. She could have stayed quiet, let the drama fade, and slipped back into being just another scrappy role player. But she didn't. From then on, every soundbite was sharper, every clip more ruthless, and every word more unapologetic. This wasn't just Sophie Cunningham playing basketball anymore. This was Sophie choosing war, and it was in that moment she truly became the WNBA's worst nightmare. Just 5 days after the JC Sheldon incident, Sophie showed up before a game, wearing a Barstool Sports Tres Leches shirt that featured her, Caitlin, and Lexi Hull. It was a clear statement about where her loyalty stood, shoulder to shoulder with Caitlin, and it instantly angered certain corners of the WNBA. The phrase Tres Leches, meaning 3 milks, was taken as a reference to the Fever's 3 white players, and Sophie knew exactly how the shirt would be interpreted. Yet she wore it anyway, and she wasn't done there. On July 1st, Sophie directly called out the WNBA, taking shots at the league's expansion plans by saying she didn't know how excited anyone could be to go to Detroit or Cincinnati. Instantly, cities like Detroit and Cleveland went into a frenzy, and criticism came from everywhere: the media, the fans, and even league insiders. For a short time, Sophie tried to walk her comments back by claiming she had been taken out of context. But here's the thing, when you're facing a mob, backing down never works. So Sophie did the exact opposite. She doubled down and said the quiet part out loud, admitting what many agreed with but were too afraid to say.
Man, I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit.
And this quickly turned into a pattern, with Sophie becoming the one player unafraid to say what everyone else was already thinking. It didn't take long for the fines to start piling up. On July 18th, she posted a TikTok lip-syncing to a Sabrina Carpenter song, not so subtly calling out the referees for being stupid and useless. The post blew up, crossing over 1 million views in just hours, and fans loved every second of it. But the WNBA didn't. They hit her with a $500 fine, which honestly was laughable. For most WNBA players, that kind of money is a serious cut from their paycheck. But for Sophie, with endorsement deals rolling in, $500 meant nothing. Caitlin probably could have covered it herself with the $11 million she earned in 2024. So instead of shutting Sophie up, the WNBA only made her louder. Less than 2 weeks later, on July 30th, she took things to another level by launching her own podcast called Show Me Something. And from the very first episode, she made it clear this wasn't just a podcast. This was her platform to call out the league and expose the W.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I am someone who says what everyone else is thinking or talking about, not just with the refs,
Did you post
but
that
with
after
Detroit,
after you guys lost?
with Cleveland. I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one, but if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way.
The league feels the same way about the refs as you?
And Detroit and
Oh.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
Do
so
you want to
now,
give it one more shot?
no, because
Okay.
I said what I had to say.
You go off.
And I'm not going to apologize because I fully believe that. Don't tell me that Detroit is more fun than Nashville.
From the very first episode, it was clear that no one was safe. Sophie went straight at the league, calling out the abuse Caitlin was taking and even mentioning her former teammates. She said it plainly: the chippiness, the cheap shots, and the constant rough play were all happening because of Caitlin Clark. And she didn't stop there. She aimed right at the referees too, saying that during the Sun game they completely lost control and that Marina Mabry should have been ejected.
You have seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin, we call her Cece. Cece. Even when I wasn't on her team, like I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And like I get it to a certain extent, and like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But there's just more for her. So it's her second year, and like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like actually, it's just too much, and like it's just. I'm over. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No, that's so fair.
Like, that's fair, right?
And then came the real bombshell, as Sophie went after not just the players, but also the media, the owners, and anyone in the league who dared to disrespect Caitlin Clark.
There's a couple players on their team that are just do a little bit extra stuff, like just chippy talking. Like you're a professional athlete, like that's what happens, right?
And I feel like you see it more because people act like this towards Caitlin.
Yes, 1,000%. So in the first half, the refs didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it.
Correct. I remember that.
They didn't, and so I was like, all right.
She got full body chested
by 3 people. Like 2 people. They're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. I know that for sure. I'm a little sassy, but like, so are they.
Your leash is shorter though, because they know.
Literally, I don't even have a leash. I just have a freaking collar and a hand on it.
After that, she went straight at the referees with a direct, targeted attack, basically daring the league to fine her.
Damn it.
No, I think that's from what I've seen in the media.
Yeah, what is the outside? Like the outside
the
view
discourse
of the W?
is like, why bully the person who is like not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your sport?
Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as fuck.
On August 5th, Sophie revealed that the league had fined her again, this time hitting her with a $1,500 penalty.
And I get it, because if I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're going to be finding the shit out of me, cool. But let me do it to you.
Let you,
You know what I mean?
You want
like,
consistency then.
Yeah, like just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do shit.
But just like she promised, that fine didn't change a thing. In that same podcast, she called out her former teammate and mentor, Dana Bonner, over her messy exit from Indiana. And she did it just 2 days before facing her in Phoenix.
We were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
nose. You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding.
Oh, way.
I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would not be good at it. I did say that. Like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing?
No one knows exactly what was said behind closed doors during that Fever Mercury game. But what followed made one thing clear. Phoenix was not happy with Sophie's comments. And her response was a polite but direct message. You're dead to me.
She's towards the end of her career, so like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, like, you're going to have to expect getting bit.
Was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, that's tough. And, yeah, okay.
But then Sophie went full savage mode, breaking one of the unspoken rules of the WNBA. She went straight after the referees and their obvious white glove treatment of Paige Buchers. On her August 13th podcast, Sophie ripped into the officials, saying Paige was getting ridiculous special treatment. She didn't soften her words. She didn't hold back. She flat out said it and absolutely tore them apart for it.
Or just as an opponent today?
Yeah, AZ was good to me. But I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
Sophie wasn't afraid to call out what fans had been noticing for a long time, the blatant double standard. On one side was Caitlin, the face of the league, still getting hacked with no protection well into her second year, and on the other was Paige, a rookie receiving superstar treatment from day one. It was the kind of respect Caitlin should have had from the very beginning, and Sophie was the one bold enough to say it out loud. And right on cue, the league responded in the only way it ever does, by slapping her with yet another fine.
Hey, another thing, I don't know why this reminded me of just like games, you asking about Bria, but I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA.
Holy shit. For this? For the pod? Again?
They didn't like my comments on Paige Becker's.
No way.
I didn't even say anything bad.
Now Sophie is out for the season with an McLiddle injury, which means there won't be any more on-court clashes in 2025. But what she did while she was playing, what she witnessed, and what she lived through created a platform of its own. Sophie became the example of how the league should have treated Caitlin Clark. Because she understood Caitlin's value, she celebrated it, and she defended her every step of the way. With Caitlin's popularity already reaching beyond the WNBA and a fan base that has been mocked and called every name in the book, Sophie quickly won over Clark's supporters. She became their loudest voice, saying out loud what they had been thinking all along about how the league treats its biggest star. That's why her platform is different from the others. It's pro-women's basketball but not pro-WNBA. It isn't built to polish the league's image. It's built to challenge its leadership, the referees, the players. No one is safe, and if anything, Sophie's voice is only going to get louder because the fines mean nothing to her. Every time the league tries to punish her, she just turns it up even more. And that is the WNBA's worst nightmare. A charismatic player that casual fans actually love, standing up for Caitlin Clark at every turn and calling out the league without an ounce of fear. The truth is, the WNBA brought this on themselves. And until they start protecting their players, especially the face of the league, Sophie is going to keep exposing them. If you're still here, drop a trophy emoji in the comments because you're a winner for sticking it out until the end.